Good morning again, and welcome to the fourth hour. It's really nice to have you along. You know what? There's so much excitement. I visited with Iowa Senator Joni Ernst this morning, and I mean, seriously, her enthusiasm was just contagious. And then I got an email, I think, from Darren, who was like, "Man, he was blown away by almost. I don't want to say she was giddy because at moments, I think she was, but just the enthusiasm that Republicans in Congress have with Donald Trump winning, and now with Republicans picking up the Senate majority and now a majority in the House, not by much in the House, but Republican majorities in the House, Senate, and the presidency. I mean, this is the prescription that the American people really were waiting for. So it was pretty incredible. Great conversation this morning with Iowa Senator Joni Ernst. Hope you were able to hear that. If not, these are the pitfalls of missing the Greg Belfrage show. Thanks so much for being here. Speaking of Donald Trump, I check Donald Trump's page on True Social every morning. I check it fairly regularly. I've got it installed. I have the Truth Social app on my phone. So I like to see what he's up to. So Donald Trump, let me show you this. He posts a video this morning. This is Nick Bosa of the 49ers, and this this move that Bosa did. Now watch this. YMCA play. Picking up that there it is. It's the Trump move. He's and it just shows this over and over. So that now other players also getting in on the Trump move. I thought that was pretty incredible. So it's something in a lighter vein here this morning. I like to keep the fourth hour a little bit lighter for you. You know, we get into the heavy stuff during the radio show. So also there are other stories. Oh, this is a big story this morning. This actually breaking since I've been off the air this morning, because Judge Juan Merchan was supposed to make a decision about what to do with Donald Trump in regard to presidential immunity. And so he was set to rule today. Instead, he told Trump's lawyers that he will delay the ruling until November 19th. So coming up, what is that? It's going to be a week from today. So he's delaying then his ruling for a week. And according to emails filed in court, Trump's lawyers asked for the delay over the weekend, arguing there are strong reasons for the requested stay and then eventually dismissal of the case. So they're hoping to get these charges against Trump dismissed, and Merchan giving them you have to wonder then, with Merchan giving them an additional week to make the case, put together evidence, whatever, and be able to make the case, you got to wonder if he's looking for an exit ramp. That's the first thought that crossed my mind. Maybe you're seeing something different. I would appreciate hearing from you. But is Merchan? Yeah, I agree with you, Greg. These were bogus charges to begin with. Absolutely agree. But Merchan is this. I've wondered what's going to happen. Of what Merchan would do. The country spoke. They didn't just vote for Donald Trump. They spoke overwhelmingly for Donald Trump. I mean, I was just looking at maps that were showing the red wave and in fact that Donald Trump doing better, excuse me, with the electorate than he's ever done before. And the strength of the MAGA movement is like something you and I have never seen. I mean, it's incredible. Who would have thought, after all of these charges against Donald Trump and the media constantly against Trump and all of the things that Donald Trump was fighting. How many times did I tell you on the program, the strength of this guy is just absolutely unbelievable. His ability to just keep plugging away because, that is, I think it's a love of country and that's driving him and compelling him. It's his love for the country and wanting to deliver that then great things for other Americans. You know, the American dream that Donald Trump, I think he has lived, he's a model of the American dream, being able to pursue the things that you want in life and so on. And Donald Trump is the model of this. I mean, he's enjoyed that. How easy, and I've been saying this for years, how easy would it have been for Trump to say, nah, no thanks, I'm out, wanting to preserve the country so that others can enjoy the same American dream. It's just absolutely incredible. So the way the Democrats have gone after him has just been, you and I would have just been devastated by the steps that they took against Trump time and time again. We saw it. So pretty incredible. So a delay in the case for a week. And again, I wonder if Judge Juan Merchan, excuse me, mute my mic for a moment. I wonder if he is looking for an off ramp. David asked if I saw the NSL cold open. No. I haven't watched Saturday Night Live in 20 years, and I do see some of the things that they put out. I see them, usually when it's generating news, then I wind up seeing. Otherwise, I don't seek it out. And I haven't easily in 20 years probably watched Saturday Night Live. As we're talking about Trump here, Kathy said, hopefully some on the left were able to see through all the sham charges, violating his rights, realizing it could happen to them. Letitia James needs to go next. Yeah, totally agree. She is. But some of these folks, they'll never see it. They'll never see it. This is the thing about hatred. When you start hating, you're being driven by hatred, and maybe you're being driven by your own, stature and your ability to be able to, I don't think many of these folks, they'll never see it. And that is really a key to you of how lost so many people in the country are. Speaking of that, this is a piece at Outkick this morning. This is a woman, and she has gone viral. And I want to share this video with you. She starts talking here.
And then waking up to text between myself and my
hold on a second.
LGBTQ plus friends and
increase the volume.
Not knowing what the world's going to look like for them either.
I'm gonna refresh this. Let's start this again because it's a little bit soft, but I was hoping I could turn the volume up, but I can't. So here she is.
Last night, and the conversation my fiance and I had before we went to bed was, if this happens, we won't be having kids.
If Trump wins
in the next 4 years, we definitely can't have them in the state we live in now. I'm already a high risk, and if we wait 4 years, I'll be pushing 36, which makes me high risk and a geriatric pregnancy, which means.
So anyway, Donald Trump being elected president, she can't have kids. She can't have kids because Donald Trump's been elected president. And this stuff is just crazy. And then she's got a follow-up piece where she's going on and talking about it. Those of you who thought she was talking about abortion, that's it. No, that's not what she meant.
My biggest takeaway from reading all of those comments today was that, number one, everyone thought I was talking about abortion, and I didn't say abortion once. And number two, that just is clearly the biggest debate going on in those comments. When I clearly mentioned it was more about women's health care, I'm worried about climate change and raising kids in this sort of.
Oh, climate change. So you can't have kids because you're worried about climate change. I mean, wow, that's just like these TikTok stars. I'm not on TikTok, by the way. Never had an interest, and that's why. The video that I just shared with you, that's kind of why I have really no interest in going on TikTok. And do you want to be surrounded by that? No, thanks. It's just, it's just crazy. There were a few other stories. This is from Newsmax, and it looks like, according to this story at Newsmax, who might be the Senate Majority Leader? An inside count of how the vote will go was leaked Sunday night. And it showed John Thune doing very well. John Thune with 24 votes. So he would need to get 27 votes. So with three people running, the lowest number of votes is out, would be the first person out. And so Thune, likely, he's ahead of even Cornyn. So he is at 27 votes. Cornyn has 18 votes, according to the count. So Trump is close to Rick Scott, but Rick Scott, likely, he's even trailing John Cornyn. I think he had 11 votes. 11 votes, according to this. Now, if this is true, but this was leaked, an inside count, John Thune was at 24 votes. So based on this, we'll see what happens. We'll wait and see how, if it turns out to be actually true. Again, this is a piece at Newsmax this morning. Thune favored as majority leader. Trump may go silent as a result. So rumors rampant on Capitol Hill yesterday that Trump would weigh in. And one of Washington's worst kept secrets is that Trump favored Senator Rick Scott of Florida. And Rick Scott has been out there and campaigning. And he's appeared on Clay and Buck's show talking about it. So the inside count of how lawmakers would vote, showing that Scott only had 11 votes. Nowhere near what he needs to be able to actually stay in the race. He's not garnering even more votes than Cornyn. So he's having a tough time knocking Cornyn out based on this, let alone Thune. So where that goes, we'll wait and see. It's a secret ballot. As you know, it's a secret ballot that they take. So we'll see how it. that video that I just shared with you, Jay said, think about it. It's these crazies will be funding Social Security when you and I retire. Absolutely right. And then there was one other story this morning that I want to share with you. Who is Trump looking at for Attorney General? And this is a story from FoxNews.com. Here are the so-called possibles that he's looking at. Senator Mike Lee of Utah. And they're saying here, as you can read, he's considered to be a more conventional pick to head up the Justice Department. Mike Lee would be a great choice. But apparently, he may not want the job. He said while he's had frequent conversations about Trump's transition team, he plans to focus on the Republican majority Senate and helping gin up support for Trump's cabinet nominees and helping select the Senate majority leader. So he apparently has said in an interview, I have the job I want, and I look forward to working in the next Congress and with President Trump and his team, so on. Also, John Ratcliffe is one of the names that's out there being considered. Ratcliffe, it's a name that I have seen often. He's a former federal prosecutor, former U.S. representative from Texas, and he was very outspoken. He had criticism of the FBI and Robert Mueller and the special counsel investigation. And so Trump had tapped Ratcliffe then before as the director of national intelligence. So he has some experience in the role. And then we start getting down into names that I think are probably not immediately recognizable to many of us. But this is interesting. Andrew Bailey, another, the Missouri Attorney General, among the names being floated out there. And of those I just shared with you, I think it would certainly John Ratcliffe or Senator Mike Lee would be great choices. So to head up the U.S. Justice Department, that's where Donald Trump's thoughts are kind of at the moment. Edgy saying whoever goes into the Department of Justice as AG going to be dealing with a viper's nest. Yeah, I think so. This is why you got to have a tough nut. You have got to have folks who are strong. As we were talking about Governor Kristi Noem then at Department of Homeland Security on the air this morning, I think you need tough nuts. You need folks who are going to be able to drive ahead in the midst of criticism and get things done. Interesting. So we'll see where it goes. Sean is right, too, in a comment that he made. The reactions by Democrats to Trump's victory shows the effectiveness of the left's indoctrination over the last 40 years. Yeah, absolutely right. Absolutely right. They've been indoctrinated and they buy it and they're fearful. They're scared. And that to me is what I just find absolutely so incredible. That fear that so many of these folks on the left have. It's pretty incredible. David, he's saying Clinton fired a bunch of DOJ's attorneys as he took office. I think Donald Trump needs to do wholesale change, actually. Denise asked an interesting question. I want to pick up Denise, the question she's asking in a moment. But I think there's got to be wholesale change, not just in the Department of Justice, but I think throughout the federal government. The number of people who are working in the federal government, it's really kind of shocking. So we need folks who are unafraid to clean out their departments and move forward. That's the only way the country will move forward. The federal government is like an anchor tied around your neck. I mean, you can't even barely lift your head up off the, ground because of the weight the federal government is constantly applying. So Denise said, who finishes out the term of governor if Kristi Noem then resigns to take a cabinet position then with Donald Trump? It would be Larry Roden, who is the the lieutenant governor. Larry Roden would rise then, and then there'd been a lot of speculation as to whether he would planning potentially a run for. I've seen. How do I want to put this? Just a lot of speculation about what Larry Roden and what Larry Roden's future looks like. There's also a lot of speculation about Dusty Johnson. Does Dusty Johnson want to return to South Dakota as governor of South Dakota? I have seen that. I'm not making any predictions here. I'm just telling you stories that have been out there. I'm not one who really likes to speculate about what might happen. So Larry Roden, though, he would step up as lieutenant governor um, into that position. That's why you have a lieutenant governor if something like this arises. So we'll see what happens. But again, a lot of this is speculation, and I really don't like engaging in it unless I'm pretty darn sure as to something that's going to happen, or I've heard something from somebody that yeah, and I'm pretty positive. Otherwise, I just don't like going out on a limb and speculating because that's just a waste of time. That's just eh, seriously. I would rather concentrate on what's happening now and how can I be an instrument of change and how, you know, what does Donald Trump, I think, need from us as he begins? What does he need from us? What do we need to do? It's one of the things I've talked about is remaining strong. I think and voting and making your voice heard, participating in elections. I think that's the biggest way that you and I can help. You know, a lot of this is just out of our hands. But what happens at the ballot box, that's up to you and me. So this is why I pushed and pushed and pushed you to go vote. Whether you agree, disagree, don't care. I think it's important that you learn that every election is important. Every election is important. This one was tremendously important, but everyone, they're not going to all be this sexy, but everyone is important. You got to get out there. You've got to make your voice heard. This is why I was really inspired by the number of people in the state who were running for state legislature. And we're watching our state legislature and saying, there needs to be change in our state legislature. We've got dead wood in our state legislature. That's how it starts. You got to have people that are engaged, interested, and want to see, you know, and want to be moving forward. And I don't think our state legislature has always taken us in that direction. So I'm going to leave it there for today. I want to ask you to please hit that like button if you would. I would appreciate that very, very much. I enjoy this time that we spend together. So I hope you'll return tomorrow. Hope to see you then. Take care. Have a great Tuesday. And again, please come back. See you again soon,